This is The Stuff Report, a weekly look at hoarding in the headlines. Here's what's happening.
This week, the Daily Star ran a piece titled Beyond the Clutter, Understanding Hoarding Disorder. It's your standard explainer: what hoarding is, how it's classified, why it's not the same as collecting or being messy. Nothing groundbreaking. But here's why it matters. Stories like this keep appearing because the public still doesn't understand what hoarding actually is.
And that's actually worth pausing on. The fact that major outlets keep running What is Hoarding explainers tells you something. We're years into this being in the DSM. There are TV shows about it, and still, the average person thinks hoarding is about being lazy or having too much stuff.
Exactly. The article covers the basics. It's classified under OCD and related disorders. It affects executive function. It's not a choice. And it quotes experts saying things like, it's not laziness, it's a psychiatric issue. Which is good. That's accurate.
But what articles like this often miss, and this one does too, is what to actually do about it. They explain the problem, they describe the diagnosis, and then they sort of stop. The reader walks away informed, but still helpless.
That's the gap. Knowing what hoarding is doesn't tell a family member what to say tomorrow morning, but at least the conversation is moving in the right direction.
It's moving. Slowly. But it's moving.
Two stories this week that are worth putting side by side. First, Psychology Today ran a piece on a landmark twin study, the 2009 Iyer-Volino study from the American Journal of Psychiatry. It found that in women, genetics account for about 50% of hoarding risk. Shared family environment? Almost zero.
That second part is the one that surprises people. The intuitive assumption is that hoarding comes from growing up in a cluttered home. But this study says, not really. Identical twins raised together were no more similar in hoarding behavior than identical twins raised apart.
The article makes a useful point. Genes may load the gun, but life experiences pull the trigger. Trauma, loss, stress, those are the things that determine whether the genetic tendency actually shows up.
And it explains something families see all the time. Two kids grow up in the same house, and one develops hoarding behavior, while the other doesn't. That's not anyone's fault. It's not about parenting. It's biology interacting with experience.
The other piece worth mentioning, KXII ran a story called When Clutter Becomes Dangerous. It covers the 5-level hoarding severity scale that fire departments and hoarding task forces use. Level 1 is some clutter, but everything functional. Level 5 is life-threatening.
What I like about this article is that it doesn't just describe the problem. It gives practical guidance. The experts quoted say the same thing we hear over and over. The grand cleanup doesn't work. The clutter comes back because you're treating the symptom, not the cause.
The article also makes an important distinction that doesn't get enough attention. When hoarding behavior appears suddenly in an older adult, it might not be hoarding disorder at all. It might be cognitive decline.
That's critical. Hoarding disorder usually starts early. It's chronic. If someone in their 70s suddenly starts filling their home, that's a medical workup, not a cleaning problem.
Finally this week, a story that approaches hoarding from a different angle entirely. USA Today profiled a woman named Madison Lavelle. Her father hoarded. For 17 years, she never entered his home. After his death last year, she inherited the house and started posting cleanup videos on social media.
This is a story a lot of people will recognize. The child of a hoarder who has to dig out after the parent passes. Lavelle described it as making 10,000 tiny decisions while processing grief and occasionally arguing with a broken lamp.
The piece explores something we don't talk about enough: the emotional weight of cleaning out a hoarded home when the person who filled it is gone. Every object carries meaning. Every decision is layered with memory, guilt, relief.
And the thing that stuck with me, Lavelle said her father's biggest fear was that his stuff would end up in the trash. That's the core of this. For him, the objects weren't trash. They were safety. They were proof. And cleaning them out after he died meant confronting all of that without him there to explain it.
The experts quoted in the article say the same thing we've been saying all episode. Don't clean out a home where hoarding was present without the person's permission. It backfires. It causes harm. But when the person is gone, the work falls to the people who loved them.
And that work isn't just removal. It's grief.
That's the Stuff Report for this week. Thanks for listening. That's the Stuff Report for this week. We'll see you next time.